Hello everyone and welcome to my how to play Reinhardt video. Reinhardt has a wonderful kit. His bread and butter ability is his shield. Right click puts up his shield and that's going to absorb 2000 damage, which will recharge if you put the shield down. You can direct that shield up, left, right, any direction, but it will always face forward. Anyone from attacking you behind will still do damage to you. To be noted, there's a few abilities in the game that will go through Reinhardt's shield that I will cover in a more advanced video, one of which is a Symmetra shot or a Zarya left click. So just to give you an idea of the shield and its capabilities, his second ability is an energy blast he can do every 6 seconds. That energy blast is going to do a tremendous amount of damage, and it is his only ranged attack. Also cannot be absorbed by anything outside of maybe a Zarya bubble. His hammer swing is his left click. We're in a short radius. He's going to swing his hammer like a madman in front of him. And then, of course, his ultimate ability. His ultimate ability, one of the better in the game. That ability is going to lay his hammer down on the ground, and that's going to knock down any enemies that are in its path for a short duration. Arguably one of the better abilities in the game. So Reinhardt is a delicate flower. He is a balance between being offensive and defensive. He is your standard tank. He is one of the best tanks in the game, and with that, his role is to always stay on or near the objective. If you are not ending up with gold or silver objective time by the end of the match, you are failing at your role. So you, as a tank, need to perform that function of protecting your DPS, protecting your healers, and allow them to push a point and control a point and to do their function. You're not a flanker. You shouldn't be chasing a tracer around the map. You're not a standard DPS, though many times if you're playing Reinhardt right, you will end up with gold eliminations. You are a tank. You're not a healer. You're not going to be healing anybody. But what you can do with your shield, if used effectively, is absorb thousands of damage every single match that your team is no longer taking. On average, you're going to end up between 8 and 20,000 damage absorbed every single match. And that's 8 or 20,000 damage that your team does not have to take. Your healers do not have to compensate for. So with that being said, you only have a 2,000 damage shield. After 2,000 damage, your shield goes away until it recharges for a short time. So you don't want to be using your shield willy-nilly. If you're using your shield willy-nilly, then it's not going to be there for you when you need it most. When a Reaper decides he's going to use his ultimate, you can absorb that entire ultimate with your shield if you have it available. If you're just constantly taking Junkrat spam to your shield, and your team is not smart enough to get out of the way, it's not going to be there for those critical moments when D.Va uses her ult, when Reaper uses his ult, so on and so forth. So the balance between Reinhardt is knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when to be defensive. If there's anything you need to practice when playing Reinhardt, it's just that. Knowing when to put up that shield, knowing when to swing your hammer, and knowing how to do those things in an effective combination that's going to allow you to protect your team, take out enemy targets, and control your point. If you can master staying on your point, protecting your DPS, and playing your role on a team, Reinhardt's going to be very meta. You will be welcome on just about any team composition. It's never really a bad choice to pick a Reinhardt. On a payload map, you always want to stay right next to or on your payload. On a control point map, you always want to stay right on the control point or near the control point. Doing so is going to give your team a huge advantage to push that objective. And it's one of those characters where you know if there's a Reinhardt and you know if there's not a Reinhardt by the difficulty in controlling a point. Now, that is by far the most unglorious job in all of Overwatch. So your flankers are going to be out there getting kills, your DPS are going to be getting plays of the game, your healers are going to be doing stellar jobs keeping everyone alive. Everyone's got action going on except poor old Reinhardt, because his objective in life is to keep and control a point, which is really unglorious, but it is by far the most effective position on the team. So, that play of the game is not going to win a game for you. You being on that objective is what's winning that game, whether it's a payload map or whether it's a control point. So, the guy with the highest DPS on the board, however, once again, if you're playing Reinhardt right, it might be you. But the gentleman with the highest DPS, or lady with the highest DPS on the board, isn't really winning that game for you. That doesn't move the payload. You moving the payload, you standing on that objective, it's what's going to win a game. So again, Reinhardt, the biggest trick with him, knowing when to put up your shield, knowing when to put down your shield, knowing when to protect your DPS, and then of course you yourself are a monster when it comes to close quarter combat. So anytime there's a tight corner and you're face to face with the Reinhardt, odds are you're gonna lose. He can take down Reapers 9 times out of 10, even in close quarters, between his shield and his charge and his energy blast and his hammer swing. He is just built for that close quarters combat, and that's what makes him so effective at holding and controlling a point. If you overextend and get yourself killed, which I'm going to do here in short order, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to lose your control point, unfortunately. And that is failing your team, right? Because they're counting on you, just like you're counting on them, to hold that objective. So right here, I die. My team in short order is going to lose this control point because I overextended myself, and now I've got to run myself back because I'm not there to control it, in which once we get there, of course, we take it back in quick order, but that's really case in point. So I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. When you overextend with Reinhardt, you're creating an opportunity for your team to lose the objective, and you're failing them. So yes, you can recover from it, and yes, hopefully your team is good enough, but at all times you need to be on that control point. Now another key point there, when I'm coming back with my Reinhardt shield, I'm not going to just stand there with the shield up to absorb damage, which I see a lot of newer Reinhardts do. I'm going to walk forward towards that objective at all times and push my team into that point. As always, if you like this video, leave it in the comment sections below, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down there. Let me know what character you want to see next, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe this video.